Welcome to Foodnutt, Jackie Mazzucato here. And today I'm going to take you through one of my absolute favourite things to do on a Saturday morning, and that's to make mozzarella. Now I'm really lucky where I am in South Australia because I have access to some of the best milk in Australia, and that's this Fleurieu Peninsula Milk. I don't mind paying extra for it. I'm supporting local businesses, local farmers, and my milk profits stay in Australia because it's also Australian owned. I love this milk when I'm making mozzarella, and I do spend extra money on the milk that I'm using because it's creamier and I get a better result. So what are you going to need to make mozzarella? Mozzarella is a fairly easy cheese to make, but you are going to need some special ingredients and some tools in your kitchen as well. I've got some of the Mad Millie bits and pieces here. You can buy the tablets and the citric acid separately, or you can get a small kit or an Italian cheese making kit for around $40 or so. So we're going to need today some sodium chloride. We only use about 2 mils of that, so don't worry about that one. I've just got 1.5 Rennet tablets here, and I've just got, as I said, the Mad Millie Rennet tablets. And all I do is just mix a 1/4 cup just cooled boiling water with that one. In here, I've mixed already 2 teaspoons of citric acid with another 1/4 cup of water. I've got my gloves here because you're actually going to be working with some sort of very, very hot cheese when you go into the stretching phase, and I double latex gloves just to protect my hands. I've got some cooled salt water here that we're going to use later on in the process. My big saucepan, some muslin, just a small or a relatively small piece of muslin there. And I'm going to need my thermometer because we're going to be working at certain temperatures as well. So just a slotted spoon and a flat knife, a baking knife or something like that. So what we're going to do to get started is we're going to pour the milk into our large saucepan. Oh, look at that beautiful milk. Even the colour is beautiful. So this one's premium Jersey cow milk. I often see the Jersey cows up on the hills behind me. But look at that beautiful, beautiful milk. So you're going to need 4 litres of milk. It's quite a lot of milk. And it'll make about 4 sort of normal size balls of mozzarella. So that's the milk there. We're going to want to put in, as I said, 2 mils of sodium chloride. There we go, that's 2 mils there. If you don't have a little pipette thing to measure with, you could just use a syringe from the shops, or something that you use for the Panadol. So we're going to mix that, and also, as I said, the citric acid mixed in some cooled water, about 1/4 cup of water and 2 teaspoons of citric acid. So what we need to do now, just to get that curd and whey to separate, we're just going to light the stove here and stirring constantly the milk as it heats through. What we want to do is bring that up to 32 degrees Celsius. And that's the temperature we're going to want that to go to. And then we're going to sit that in a bath of water in the sink to keep that temperature at 32 degrees for about 30 minutes or so. But once we've got this to 32 degrees, we can pop our rennet in. Now, I didn't mention before, hold on to your milk cartons. Don't throw those out, because we don't like to waste too much in our kitchen, and you'll end up with the whey that can be used for those that like protein shakes. Instead of having a protein shake, you could actually just drink the whey. It can be used as a treatment for your hair, and there's many, many other uses for whey. I'd love to hear some of your comments down below. Okay, so we're at 32 degrees now. I'm just about to transfer this over to the sink, but look at those beautiful curds that are now formed in our milk. And that's what we're looking for. All right, now's the time to add the rennet. So all I've done with those rennet tablets is just broken them up in the cooled water. They won't fully dissolve, but let's break them up slightly there. As I said, the rennet is for setting your curds. So you just want to mix that through, and then we're going to go and take that across to the sink. Okay, so we've got our pot there. I'm just going to put that into a sink full of water that's going to be at just over 32 degrees, because the whole idea is to keep your mixture at 32 degrees. So I've got that now in the sink. We're going to leave that there for 30 minutes, but I'm just going to cover that. We don't want anything to get in that while we're waiting. Hey Google, set a timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
Hey Google, how much time left on the timer?
You've got 18 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
I'm not very patient. Good time for a glass of wine. I'm having the Director's Blend Chardonnay. But what I will do is just show you right now. You can actually sort of see the curds and the whey quite nicely there. That whey is separated quite nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tip this up and show you. You can see my curd and my whey have separated. And I've got this nice, beautiful curd sitting here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm literally just going to slice through with my knife in about 3 centimetre lines, both this way and this way. And then you're going to want to get your knife and actually sort of slice through some of the bottom curds as well. So you can see here I've got these beautiful little blocks of curd. So at this point what we're doing now is we're going to take the temperature of the mixture up from that 32 degrees, just 10 degrees to 42 degrees. And you'll see your curds there and they're nice sort of solid blocks. You want to mix a tiny bit, but not as you were sort of stirring before. Okay, so what I've done now is I've got that cheesecloth, just a little bit of muslin cheesecloth there, and my strainer, and all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to spoon out our curd and let the whey drain. It just takes 5 minutes or so in the muslin just to drain off before we're ready to actually go to our stretching and pulling bit, which is the bit I like. So you can see that we've sort of drained off a lot of the whey there. You see how much comes out of it. It's quite amazing. And you'll find in the next heating phase as well, you'll see more of that come out. But we've got like a nice, solid sort of good amount of curd that's started to form together. So we're ready to go to the next stage. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take about a quarter of the curd that we've got here and we're going to pop it into our water. We've brought that water to between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius. You don't want to go too much hotter. I've double gloved here just to protect my hands from the heat, but you know, you want to be careful at this point. We're just going to submerge that into the water. We just want that curd to be starting to melt a little bit so we can start working with it. Now the first time that you sort of pop it into the water for sort of 10-15 seconds, it'll start to form together, but this is the one where you're actually just going to, don't worry if we can't get it all in and all together. Oh, I lost a little bit of that in there. That's all fine. Pop it back into my water for a little while, and now we're going to start with the stretching. So I'm just going to grab that up into my hands. See, you can see the whey coming out, and you want to start to sort of stretch it and fold it back onto itself. So just start to stretch. It should feel a little bit like chewing gum. If you're not getting that chewing gum consistency or it starts to break apart like that, just stick it back in your water. And you let it heat through again till we get that nice elasticity. And you're going to do this sort of maybe 2 times maximum. You really want to just do it until you get a shine on the outside. Once you've got that shine on the outside, you know you're just about there. So you can see it's stretching like chewing gum. And that's what will give it the nice layers as you're working with it. But this is going to be the last time I pop that one back into the water because I've pretty much got all the whey out of it now. So we'll sort of start to form it almost into its ball. Pop it back in there. What I did with my salt water while we were waiting for everything, for the curd to set and for everything else like that, I just popped this one in the fridge. You can use ice cubes in the water, but I literally just pop that in the fridge while I'm making it so it's nice and cold. Okay, so you can now start to see we've got this beautiful elastic ball forming. And again, I'm not going to work that one too much more. Well, not quite shiny. We'll give it a tiny little bit longer in there. There we go. Just starting to get shiny now. But again, we don't want to overwork it. All I'll actually do is form it into my ball, and I'm just going to pop that in the water there. And then we can go with the second one. So there we have it. Italian mozzarella. Okay, so now you've made this beautiful mozzarella, let's turn it into a beautiful mozzarella and tomato salad. So I'm just going to slice through the mozzarella there. You can see the layers as we've been stretching and turning over. So I just love fresh mozzarella. So I'm just going to chop those balls of mozzarella all the way through. This is an absolute favourite on a Saturday afternoon in our family. Oh, and you can see how soft it is. Now, if you don't want to eat all of your mozzarella now and you want to save some for later, that whey that you kept over, you just pop it in a whey bath in the fridge and it'll keep for about a week or so. But in our family, it doesn't last that long. Pop a bit down. Use some of those bigger pieces. As I said, sometimes I cut the tomatoes in half just so you've got the sort of same amount of cheese as you do the tomatoes. You want to sort of get in every mouthful a little bit of the tomato, a little bit of the basil. Now, I have one of my absolute faves here. This is the Lucia's balsamic glaze. So rather than just balsamic and olive oil, which you can use as well, I like this glaze. It just brings a little bit of sweetness to it. You'll see how sticky it is in a second. There we go. Just a drizzle over the top of the balsamic glaze. Mozzarella, tomato salad with a little bit of basil, a little bit of balsamic glaze, glass of the Chardonnay. Buon appetito.